Did you know that Alex Murdaugh's paralegal Annette Griswold is Mallory Beach's father's first cousin, and after the boat crash, it caused conflict in her family? Hello, True Crime Stories podcast family. Welcome back. Alex Murdaugh is the infamous disbarred attorney known for stealing from his clients, but what was he really like around the office at the law firm? How did he function as a lawyer while always being high off pills? Let's take a deep dive into what a day at the office really looked like for Alex. Alex did whatever he wanted. He would come and go as he pleased. I know some lawyers spend a lot of time out of the office in court, but Alex rarely did any work and barely showed up to the office. His office was dirty and unorganized, but he didn't see anything wrong with it. Most of the time, he only showed up to sign his clients' dispersal sheets to make sure his clients' settlement checks were sent to his fake Forge account. Alex was hard to work for and treated his staff badly, but it got worse after the boat crash. He even got mad at his paralegal and yelled at her for asking questions about him sending checks to his fake Forge account. After the boat crash, he took his frustration out on the staff. They had to lock the front door so the media wouldn't walk in. He was rarely in the office, and when he was, it was nothing but chaos. They were a close-knit law firm. They were like family. It was a brotherhood for the law partners, but Alex took advantage of that. After Maggie's and Paul's death, he completely checked out. He stopped doing work at the law office, but he was still getting paid. The staff at the law firm relied on Alex's word and trust, but they would later find out that was the wrong thing to do because you can't believe anything Alex says and he can't be trusted. He stole, lied, and manipulated everyone around him. He always had an excuse every time he got caught stealing. There were so many red flags. He was fidgety, always forgetting stuff, sweating a lot, paranoid, and couldn't stay still. They could only see the monster hiding in plain sight after the fact, in hindsight, after the damage was already done. With Alex, timing is everything. He is very calculated. Alex had the law firm staff unknowingly doing his dirty work for him. He was on his own time and inconsiderate of his staff's time. Alex arranged the perfect timing to do his dirty work. He always showed up when the staff was ready to leave and made the staff work late. When it was time to send the dispersal sheet with his fake account, Alex would come in like a tornado and send it in 10 minutes before it was time for the staff to go home. Alex picked the perfect time when he knew the staff wasn't paying attention, and they would rush to send the dispersal sheet through so they could go home. He didn't have to worry about them asking him questions about his fake account called Forge. Hampton is a small place where everybody knows each other or they are related. Mallory Beach's father is first cousins with Alex's paralegal. It caused problems between her and her family. Her family wanted her to stop working for Alex at the law firm, but she decided to keep her job and try to keep her family separate. Everyone around the office respected her boundaries and knew that she didn't want to talk about the boat case or be involved. Alex took cases that involved personal injuries, workers' comp, medical malpractice, premises liability, product liability, wrongful death, and trucking cases. Alex's demeanor around the law firm before the boat crash, Alex was intelligent when it came to the law, and his staff admired him, but he was always high, paranoid, and all over the place. No, he didn't work regular hours. He would float in late in the morning or late afternoon. Alex's paralegal had a joke that he might not be there all day, but he would show up right before they was ready to leave. He kept unset hours. The staff referred to Alex as the Tasmanian Devil because he walked in the office, and no matter what you were doing, you started spinning. As soon as Alex came in the door, he would immediately start shouting everybody's name, throwing out orders, and rushing them to get work done. This really confused the staff because they were looking at him thinking, I had a long day, and I'm ready to go home, but they would stay until they finished their work 2 or 3 hours later. It was hard to get Alex to sign any documents. Documents would sit on Alex's desk waiting for his signature. The staff went through hell working for him, but it only got worse after the boat crash. Aftermath of the boat crash. After the boat crash, Alex's attitude around the office got worse, and so did his work habits. He took out his frustration from the boat crash out on his staff. Hampton is a small town where everybody knows each other. Mallory Beach's father is Alex's paralegal first cousin. Alex's paralegal felt like she was stuck in between a rock and a hard place because her family was beyond heartbroken after losing Mallory, and they didn't want her working for Alex anymore. Her family didn't like the fact that she was still working at the law office. She looked at the situation like it was two separate entities. This was her job, and that was her family, and she kept them separate. She didn't want any parts in the boat crash and didn't want to know the details either. After the boat crash, Alex was more distant. Even when he was in the office, he was distant. It was hard for him to sit still long enough to get answers or sign documents. If they had questions about one of his cases, they couldn't reach him. He had a nasty attitude and became unapproachable. The staff would put stuff in Alex's office for him to sign, but he never signed them. It got extremely worse after the boat accident. He was rarely there, and when he was, the door was closed. It was almost impossible for them to reach him. Alex was always on his phone or dealing with something bigger than what they had going on at the law firm. Alex was very tense. The paralegal referred to him as having his ass on his shoulders. He came in with an attitude, yelled their names, and treated them worse than he did before the boat crash. He took his anger out on the staff. It seemed like he was mad at the world. Why was Alex so protective over his office? Did he have a pill stash there too that made him paranoid? Or was it the side effects from the pills that made him paranoid? Alex was so paranoid that he didn't want his staff anywhere near his office if he wasn't there, or he would snap on them, so they were scared to go into Alex's office. The staff had to wait until they saw him around the office to get signatures or resolve issues with his cases. Alex always complained about people moving stuff around in his office. He would come in on a Monday and say, "Who's been in my office?" And the staff would say, "I don't know, probably the cleaning ladies. We have no idea." His office was very cluttered and unorganized, but Alex said he knew where everything was, and it was organized in his own way. Maybe Alex had a secret pill stash in his office at the law firm. Alex always kept pills with him everywhere he went because he would go through withdrawal and wouldn't be able to function without them. How did Alex start stealing his clients' settlement checks? It all started when Alex lied and forced his paralegal to change his settlement check disbursement sheets. He told his paralegal to change the bank name on the disbursements to Forge instead of Forge Consultants so that settlement checks would be prepared and sent to his fake Forge account instead of going to the real account called Forge Consultants. Alex's paralegal, Annette Griswold, said she would put Forge Consultant instead of Forge, and he would get mad at her and start yelling. He would say, "No, it's not Forge Consultants. If I wanted it to be Forge Consultants, I would have told you, I want it to be Forge." She said, "I don't understand. Isn't the name of the company called Forge Consultants?" And he described his lie to her. Alex told her to think of it like this. Forge Consultant is the large company, and Forge is a smaller company under the umbrella of Forge Consultants. Forge Consultant is the big name, and they do different things. Forge is like a savings account rather than a trust where you can get interest on the money. She said it all made sense, so the accounts payable department started making checks out to Forge. Most of the time, he used his paralegal to call the accountant and change the name from Forge Consultants to Forge, and they would have to change it. The staff thought they were just listening to their boss, but they knew something wasn't right. Sometimes Alex wouldn't let his paralegal mail the settlement checks to Forge Consultants. He would make up excuses to steal the check. He would say, "I'm going to meet the Forge Consultant contact Michael Gunn tonight in person at dinner or at Moselle, so just give me the check. I will hand-deliver it." Alex's paralegal made file notes every time Alex took a check to hand-deliver it because she was scared he would lose the checks. He was irresponsible and erratic. Alex locked his keys in his car and misplaced things all the time. Alex operated from a place of greed. He would come into the office like a tornado, sending in his clients' dispersal sheets to the accounts department 10 minutes before it was time for staff to go home, when they weren't paying attention. The staff would rush to push his dispersal sheet through without noticing Forge was on there instead of Forge Consultants. No questions were asked. Alex's paralegal's daughter was scared for her because she felt like Alex would try to hurt her mother by retaliating or terminating her because she was pressing him to get answers about a missing checks that he stole and lied about. Her daughter said, "Mom, you minds will get your resume because they are going to fire you." Alex also had enablers that did things that they knew were unethical when it comes to law, like his friend Chris Wilson, who had his own law office. He knew his office wasn't supposed to send checks directly to Alex and put his name on the check because all the money Alex made was property of the law firm until they distributed it at the end of the year, although all the partners received a salary every 2 weeks. Alex was paid a salary of $125,000 every year, paid out every 2 weeks, 26 times a year. Alex got paid $4,807 every 2 weeks with a lump sum at the end of the year. Alex was always on his cell phone, and when he was in his office, he would have 2 conversations going on at one time with both phones to his ear at the same time. His office phone and cell phone,